So here we are with all of our skepticism studying the Torah. So I have a question for you skeptics out there. Why are you trying to study Kabbalah? Why are you looking for spirituality? Why, when things go bad, do you turn to prayer and God? And why in your recesses do you question yourself? Is there something else out there? And the answer to that is that you know intrinsically that there is a reality somewhere from which we all came from which all of nature, the entire universe came from. Far, far more powerful, far, far more effective than the Big Bang. We all believe in that. And it's not because we were conditioned, but because in the recesses of our heart we believe that there must be a supreme being beyond and behind all of this. Now you have two choices. Either there was a supreme being dealing with mankind, or else the supreme being let mankind work on its own and try to figure things out. I'm of the opinion that if a supreme being created us, he didn't just let us on our own, so we should figure this out and kill each other and destroy the planet and destroy the entire universe on our own before we get it right. I'm of the opinion that the supreme being intervened and at various points in history told mankind what was required. So you'll ask me, how do I know this? And you'll ask me also, how do I know that the supreme being talked to my ancestors as opposed to other ancestors? Basics first. Is there a supreme being, yes or no? If there is no supreme being, we could not have gotten here. There is no such thing as things happening on their own suddenly, and there being a coalescing of various chaotic forces that will cause order and develop anything as complicated as a stalk of wheat or teeth or an eye or the ability to see and discern. These are not things that happen by themselves. The enamel of your teeth, which is one of the hardest substances on the world, doesn't happen by itself. There had to have been a supreme being. I can prove it logically, but we got no time for arguments. And if there is a supreme being, he must have, or it must have, communicated with mankind. There is only one unbroken chain. That's the Jewish people. One unbroken chain of the communication of a supreme being. Now, how do I know this? Well, you servants of astrology out there, did you know the following? That all of the astrological charts are based upon Jewish writings? How come? The Egyptians were astrologers. The Babylonians were astrologers. The Chaldeans were astrologers. The Greeks were astrologers. The Romans were astrologers. You know why astrology goes back to Jewish writings? Because it's the only unbroken chain from the ancient world. And the same thing is true, if it's true for astrology, how much more so it's true for philosophy and for prophecy. We've been arguing with the Greek philosophers for over 25, almost 2,600 years, that there was a beginning to the universe. Only the last 50 years of science reluctantly dragged itself to conclude that there was such a thing as an origin. And they come up with all kinds of crazy ideas. How do I know that I'm right? Because all of the latest discoveries prove that I'm right. There is such a thing as a soul. The scientists have argued against for hundreds of years. And today, they've done so many experiments are clear that there's a consciousness outside of the body. What is the soul like? That you look into the Torah and find it in the Kabbalah. What is the course of human events? What happened and what will happen? And guess what? Today, with the help of the computer, you can find it in the Torah and in no other document. And so, how do I know I'm right? I'm not right. My rabbis were right. Moses was right. Akiva was right. Hillel was right. Maimonides was right. The Baal Shem Tov was right. And because of that, you'll be right too.